Rabbi Levi Wolff is the Chief Minister from Sydney's Central Synagogue. As you'll hear from his accent, he's originally from the United States, but he's been part of our Australian community since 1997. 27 years ago, Rabbi Levi and his wife, Chani, then with their baby daughter, left New York to head down under. They embarked on their spiritual mission to Western Australia, where he was appointed Director of Chabad WA and Senior Minister of Perth's Northern Suburbs Hebrew Congregation. Then, in 2001, the incredible honour came when Rabbi Levi accepted the position of Chief Minister at the Central Synagogue in Sydney, the largest synagogue in the Southern Hemisphere, and here we are today. So now we welcome Rabbi Levi to Show of Force.
Hello, my name is Levi Wolff, and I am the rabbi here at the Central Synagogue in Sydney, Australia. It's a privilege and honor to be able to share a few words with you and to have the opportunity to be a guest on this illustrious channel, bringing the universal messages, the values of Judeo-Christian to the millions of Australians across this vast and great, wonderful country. My wife and I arrived to Australia about 25 years ago. We originally came to Perth, where we served the Jewish community there until August of 2001, when we came here to Sydney. Today, we serve as the spiritual leaders at the Central Synagogue in Sydney, a magnificent community, a beautiful sanctuary. In fact, it's the largest sanctuary in the Southern Hemisphere. It's a synagogue that has well over 2,000 seats. And when you walk inside and 2,000 people are praying and connecting to their Creator, it is a really special feeling and a very powerful atmosphere. We came here to serve our people. From the youngest of age, I should say, I'd always had this burning desire to be a rabbi. And there's no doubt that that was instilled within me by my mentor and spiritual leader, the late Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, who actually passed away just this month, 30 years ago, July of 1994 in Brooklyn, New York. And from the youngest of age, I always knew I wanted to go out, try and help make a difference, encourage people to connect to their spirituality, and become a little bit closer to their Maker, a little bit closer to God. I think the day of a rabbi is almost never consistent. I start off my day thinking that this is what I want to achieve today. These are the things I need to get through. These are the classes, lectures I need to prepare for and people I'm going to be seeing. And then unfortunately, the way it works, especially in a community like mine where there's well over 1,250 families. So that's thousands of people that call this synagogue their home. There's always things that come up in everything in life. In the cycle of life, there's always going to be matters. I mean, just yesterday, I had a day booked with different appointments of people that were meant to be seeing me here. And unfortunately, somebody passed away the day before, and the funeral took place yesterday. So all of those things went out the window. There is so many things that involve a day of a rabbi, and it's like a roller coaster. It's the highs and the lows, but it's the connections and the relationships that are built with the people of my community. I think as a family, the tight-knit family that I have, in many ways, it's not a vocation or position that I serve as someone on my own. We do this as a family. My wife is an equal partner with those things that we do here at the synagogue. She's probably my much better half, not probably, she is my better half. And we do this in partnership. Our children are deeply engaged in the work that my wife and I do in the community. And I think in many ways that serves as a nice example and a role model to other families. So it's not just a father or a mother that's involved or a single individual involved in the work, but it's like what the community looks like. There are parents, there are children, and everybody's engaged in the work that we're doing. We are blessed to have 10 children. Well, 6 are biological children, 3 boys and 3 girls. We're blessed with 2 son-in-laws and 2 grandchildren who are now 3 years old and 1 year old. We have our children, our eldest daughter, Mushka, is 26 years old, married to Mendy, living in New York, in Brooklyn at the moment. Our second son, Mendel, is studying currently in New York and working at what's called the JLI, Jewish Learning Institute. Our daughter, Leah, just recently got married to Bensi, and Bensi's finishing law in New York, so they're living currently in New York as well. Our son, Ephraim, is studying in Pretoria, South Africa, from all places. He's studying in a rabbinical school in Pretoria. And our son, Moshe, is currently studying at high school at Kesser Torah here in Dover Heights. And our youngest, Rachel, she is studying also at Kesser Torah. She's in her second year of high school. And our family is in many ways spread around the world. I come from a large family of 13 brothers, 13 children. So 7 of us are girls and 6 of us are the boys, 7 girls, 6 boys. All of my brothers and sisters, I should say most of my brothers and sisters, are spread around the world doing similar work to what my wife Chani and I are doing. And they're serving in Jewish communities anywhere between Helsinki, Finland, and Puerto Rico, and everywhere in between. And my wife comes from a tiny family of 11. And she is the oldest sister of 7 girls to follow. And of course, the boys in the family as well. So we're blessed to come from large traditional families where Chani and I are from the oldest in the groups. And I think, thank God, because of technology and WhatsApp and things like that, the family stays together, and it's just buzzing throughout the day and the night because of the different time zones that all of us currently find ourselves in. Why did I come to Australia? Well, I'm still trying to work that one out. Actually, Australia was one of the very first places that reached out to my wife and I after we got married. We belong to a Hasidic group called Chabad. And for many of you who might be familiar, in the 60s, John F. Kennedy started something called the Peace Corps, where they sent out couples around the world to help make a difference. Well, even before John F. Kennedy, the Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem M. Schneerson, thought of the idea, and this was in many ways following one of the most tragic events in Jewish history, if not the most tragic event, which was the Holocaust. Following the murder of 6 million Jews, of which both my wife and I are descendants of only survivors, Jews who were the only survivors in their families. Following the Holocaust, the Rebbe began to rebuild Jewish life. And if one can perhaps use the analogy of how the Nazis hunted down Jews with hate, the Rebbe came around and hunted us Jews down with love and with compassion. And he built up a Peace Corps. He built up a dynasty of well over 3,500 to 4,000 young couples, inspired them, encouraged them, and passionately engaged them to go out to the Jewish world, wherever the need would be. And my wife and I were approached by a Jewish community in Western Australia, from our places, to come down and help reinvigorate and bring Jewish life and love and care and teachings to that community. And that's where we started off, in Perth, Western Australia. And eventually, after 3.5 years, we were approached by the leadership of this community here, a premier synagogue in Australia, to come and help lead the community here. And after we found a replacement, a wonderful couple to look after the work that we had begun in Western Australia, we came here to the East Coast to look after the community here in Sydney, and we have never looked back. It's been an amazing 22 years. it was actually pretty difficult to leave our community. We felt so deeply engaged, so connected. It was a boutique community. We, in so many ways, felt like part of their family. And I think in many ways, that's really what a rabbi should be, and what faith leaders are. They are part of your family. They need to relate to you. They need to be part of your life so that they can help you and understand and appreciate the challenges that you and your families are going through. Following October 7th, definitely the saddest and most tragic experience that the Jewish community has had since the Holocaust, there has been a resurgence of Jewish interest. There have been individuals who, in many ways, their Judaism has been dormant. It has been, tucked away, and October 7th has awoken such a deep-seated care and interest in Judaism. Following October 7th, there was an individual who walked into synagogue, and he told me that in the past 50 years, he has been to synagogue twice. For his bar mitzvah, which is when a boy turns 13 years old. And when he graduated school, before he went off to Europe, his grandfather said, "Why don't you come with me to synagogue?" And he walked into synagogue. This was a couple of weeks after October 7th. And he told me that I'm back and I will never leave synagogue life. When I say synagogue life, he will never leave the interests and the care and the importance of the values that Judaism has for him, that in many ways he had taken for granted. And I think you see that across the board. Young and old, October 7th has reminded us of a lot of things, but it's certainly reminded us that in so many ways, if we're not here for ourselves, who will be? And who are we? What are we about? And there has been an unbelievable interest that Jews have shown back to their Judaism. In a strange way, what our enemies have reminded us. And let's hope, because very soon this war will be over and we will be back to normal life, but let's hope that those lessons will continue to be relevant, and the importance that we have found in our faith and Judaism will continue to be of deep interest as they are at the moment.